Hey guys, welcome to Made by Britsie, episode number 7. I am Brittany, and this is my podcast where I share with you everything that I've been knitting and sewing. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at MadeByBritSie. And I just want to start off by saying hi to everyone new that's joined me in the past couple of weeks. Sorry to keep you waiting for another podcast. We went on a cruise, and again, I overestimated how much I was actually gonna knit on the cruise, and I came back and I was like, wow, I don't have a whole lot to share. So yeah, I waited a couple weeks, and now I do have something exciting to show you guys, a finished object. So yeah, let's get started. So I'll start off by showing you guys my whips. So this first one is something that I showed, I want to say probably episode 1 or 2, and I've kind of put it away since then. It hasn't been getting a lot of love. So this is just a pair of vanilla socks that I've been working on. So I have the first one finished. So it's a hoe or a half object. And I kind of was getting second sock syndrome, and anyway, I picked up the second one again, so I've got a little bit done. So I started, I do walk to work, to and from work, and so I started knitting while I'm walking again, which sounds kind of crazy, but I've actually been able to get about a stripe done every day, so I feel like that's pretty good progress, especially when, you know, I wouldn't really be doing anything else while I was walking. So, well, I listen to audiobooks. So anyway, yeah, so this is just a pair of vanilla socks, and this yarn is the Knit Picks Felici. I forget the colorway, but I know they tend to change them out a lot, so I don't even know if it's still available anymore. But yeah, I really like how it's knitting up. I love the colors. I just kind of lost my sock mojo for a little while, and this is the only pair of socks I have on the needles right now, and I'm sure I'll cast another one. I always try to keep at least one pair of socks on the needles, and then sometimes I'm really motivated to knit socks, and sometimes not so much. But yeah, so I'm knitting these on, what size is this? It's Haya Sharps, US size 1 or 2.25 millimeters, and these are 9-inch circulars. And I just want to talk about this real quick because I know a lot of people don't like the 9-inch circulars, and I know when I've seen people try to knit with these, a lot of people are kind of holding them like this, just with the tips of their fingers, because the needles are small, and there's not a whole lot to grab. But what I find that works really well for me is if I kind of use the cord, you know, put some tension on the cord, and then it kind of acts as an extension to the needles. So I feel like that's really helped me, and I find these, I think these are great. I feel like I can knit super fast on these. It's just around and around and around. There's no messing with magic loop or DPNs, which I do love DPNs. I'm not a huge fan of magic loop. But yeah, this is great, especially for walking, when I just, you know, I don't need 5 needles in my hands when there's always a possibility that I could trip and I've got 5 needles coming at me, so that would not be good. But yeah, this is just a great option for me. So yeah, just a quick shot of how I do it. Again, just putting some tension on the cord just to act as, it kind of makes it a little more stable. So that may be nothing new. I mean, maybe everyone's figured that out at this point, but I do know when people say that they don't like 9-inch circulars, that's usually why, because they have a hard time holding on to these itty bitty needles. And still they're just not for everyone, and I totally get that. But anyway, so yeah, this is my half object for now. And I make no promises as to when this will be finished, because again, my sock mojo is hopefully by winter. So the next thing I want to share with you guys is something that I talked about on the last podcast, but I hadn't started it yet. So I just gotten the yarn in the mail, and I have gotten a little bit done so far. So this is the Alanis top by Elizabeth Smith, and I believe she's also known as the Brown Stitch or this Brown Stitch. But anyway, I'll post the info. So this is just a really cool boxy top with a lot of really interesting details. So it's got kind of like a textured stripe or panel running down the front, and then it's got a contrasting pocket, which I think is super cute. So this is what I have so far. This is the front hem or back hem. I forget which one you do first, but I think they're identical, so it doesn't really matter. So it has a split hem, so you knit 4 inches of this, and then you put this on a stitch holder, and then you basically knit the same thing, and then you join them in the round. So yeah, I'm knitting this on my Licka US size 6 needles. And I'm knitting this out of the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Tweed in the Autumn Heather colorway. So I do have this yarn in 3 different colors, but this is actually my first time knitting it. Knitting with it. I had started something else with this a while back, and just kind of lost interest. But yeah, I'm really liking how it's knitting up so far. I really love this color. I think it's great for autumn or winter. It's just a really pretty rust color with, some nice tweediness in there. So yeah, sometimes I get, so far I've loved any Knit Picks yarn that I've used. I haven't had any issues with it, but I do get a little nervous about knitting like a bigger project with Knit Picks yarn. Not that I've had a bad experience, I just haven't done it before, and it's a big time investment to knit something and have it not hold up well. So Rachel from the Knit and Knitabilities podcast. Hi, Rachel. If you guys don't follow her or watch her podcast, you should totally check her out because she's awesome. So we've been kind of doing the twin thing lately. So we both knit black Tegnas, which, totally not planned. It just kind of happened that way. And now she had posted a picture. She knit a Weekender sweater by Andrea Mowry in this same yarn and color. And she said she really liked it. So that kind of eases my fears a little bit. And her sweater is awesome. She did a short sleeve version, or maybe it's like the sleeveless version, but it kind of has like cap sleeves, if I remember correctly. But anyway, yeah, you guys should check her out because she's just super adorable, and everything she makes is awesome. She's got awesome style and taste. So yeah, check her out. So far this is what I have. It's knitting up super quick, and I think it's really gonna go quickly once I join it in the round. We'll definitely have this finished by fall, so that's gonna be nice. So my last work in progress is, somehow my stuff always gets tangled up. As organized as I try to be, it just doesn't work out that way. So the next thing I have to show you is also something I showed on the last podcast. So this is the Herrera top by Paula Pereira. And this is from the Pom Pom Quarterly magazine. I forget which issue it is, but it's their most recent one. So yeah, I picked that up because there's so many awesome patterns in there, and this is the one I was definitely most excited about. And I'm hoping to have this finished by the end of summer, but in Boston our summers get kind of cut short. It's definitely been warm here, but just looking into next week, we're going to be mostly in the 70s, which is awesome, but that also means the days of summer are numbered. So I'm trying to decide if I'm just going to really like crank this out, or if I'm gonna not stress out about it and just have it for next year. So far this is what I have, which it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but this has kind of been a little bit of a slog to get through. So it's 300 stitches in the round, and you're doing 50 rows, which doesn't seem too crazy, but for some reason it's just going by super slow. So first of all, the I-cord cast on was a pain. I really like how it turned out. I'd never done it before. I don't know if it's really showing up. Yeah, never done it before, and so there was also that kind of got in the way, just the trying to learn that, and it was slow going at first, but I really like how it looks, and I do really like how this is knitting up. I think I've got like 7 more rows to go till I start the shaping, and then it's got like 3 different stripes, so I think once I get to those, that it'll also go much quicker. But I keep looking at the pattern because I'm super concerned. It doesn't look nearly as long as it does in the picture. So I'm like, I mean, I've like triple checked the number of rows and all of that, and I'm doing everything right. So maybe when you block it, it like stretches a lot. I'm not really sure. So anyway, either way, it'll be fine. Oh, one trick I kind of learned while knitting this. So for some reason, I'm not sure why, I put, I normally don't put a stitch marker like at the halfway mark unless the pattern calls for it, which this pattern didn't, but for some reason I ended up with a stitch marker at the beginning of the round, and then also a stitch marker, you know, the middle of the round. I didn't realize I did that, but for a while as I was knitting, I kept thinking that I was just like flying through the rounds because I kept like coming to the stitch marker, and I was like, wow, this is going really fast. So that was really motivating, and I actually think it made me knit faster because in my head it was just going really quick. So anyway, then I realized that it was going quick because I was, you know, seeing a stitch marker twice as often as I should have. So anyway, I don't know, just a little mind trick that kind of worked for me, and I've kept it there. I haven't moved it, and I still, even though I know now, I think it still kind of helps mentally with just going around and around and around. Yeah. Oh, so I should probably tell you about the yarn. So this is knit out of the Shibui Knits and the Reed yarn, and this is the mineral colorway. So this is a 100% linen yarn, and this is the yarn that they recommend for the pattern. A lot of times I don't always go with the yarn that's recommended, or actually hardly ever, but I really just like the finished product that they show, and I wanted to get as close to that as possible. And this is even the same color that they show in the magazine, which that was not exactly planned. I didn't pay too much attention to that, but when I went to my local yarn shop, this is the color that caught my eye. So yeah, this is my first time knitting with Shibui yarn, and it's my first time knitting with linen. So knitting with linen is really different, but it's cool. Yeah, it's kind of crispy or crunchy. I've heard that the texture changes a lot once you block it, so I'm kind of excited to see how that goes. Yeah, so this is going to be my main color, and then there's 3 contrast colors. So the first one I'm using is going to be this. So this I've had in my stash for quite a while. It's just a really blue tonal turquoise yarn. This is, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to say the same. Araucania? That's probably not even close. But anyway, here's the tag. You guys probably have seen this before and can pronounce it much better than I can. So this is 75% extra fine merino wool and 25% silk. I really love this color. So I had stumbled across this. We were in Provincetown, and there's a yarn shop there, and they were having a sale, and they only had, I think, 1 skein of this, and I got it, I think it was like $8. It was super cheap. So I got it just because I really love this color, and I was like, well, I'll find something to do with one skein. But then I ended up at some point coming across 2 more skeins, and I snatched those up. So now I do have enough for a bigger project. I'm not sure what yet, but anyway, part of it's going to be a stripe in the Herrera top. So the other contrasting color that I'm going to use, where is it? So this is the leftover black yarn from my last Tegna top that I knit. So as I talked about before, I kind of had a love-hate relationship with this yarn, and there's not a whole lot left, so I don't really know what else I would do with it, but I feel like it's going to be the perfect amount to go in this top. And this is 80% wool and 20% silk, and this is the, oh, that's upside down, Cloud9 fibers and the Philo yarn, and this is the Jet colorway. Yeah, so just a basic black yarn. The silk gives it a nice sheen, which isn't going to show up. But yeah, so I'll be happy to use the rest of this up. And then my third color is going to be the contrasting stripe from my Marfa shawl. And this is Swan's Island. And this is... oh my god, the Carnelian colorway. Oh, there we go. I'm not doing good with tags today, but anyway, this is a beautiful rust colored yarn, and I'm just really into this color for fall, and I think it's going to make a nice stripe. So if you look at them all together, let's see if I can hold all of this. So yeah, main color and then contrasting stripes. So I think that's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah, and actually seeing it now is really motivating me to want to work on this and get it finished. So we'll see. Yeah, so that is it for my works in progress. So finally we've come to my finished object, which I am very excited about. So this is my Marfa shawl. This is a pattern by This Bird Knits. And, oh, this is the, oh no, this is the right side. So this is an awesome shawl. It's basically a garter stitch and brioche shawl. So you've got big sections of garter alternating with sections of brioche. And this was my first time doing brioche, and I am in love. So now that I finished this, I don't know what I'm gonna work on next, but it's definitely gonna be something with brioche because I just love how squishy this is. So I did change the pattern a little bit. Basically, what did I do? So I guess the first thing I did, it calls for a fingering weight yarn. I used, the main color is Madeline Tosh Work Sock and the Horn colorway, and that's this white or cream colored yarn with some nice speckles in there. So I don't think it really shows up on camera, but it's got speckles of like some rust colored speckles and hot pink, which goes perfectly with my contrasting colors. So I really love that because I think it really works well together. So I used a little heavier weight yarn than the pattern calls for, but I think that just added to the squishiness. I didn't change needle size or anything. This was knit on US size 6 needles, and probably made it a little more dense than it would be otherwise, but I love it. Yeah, so the other modification that I made was, in the pattern, it calls for a contrasting stripe to go under each section of brioche. So you would have had, I probably would have done like a rust, or either use that rust or the hot pink to do just a stripe in the garter section. But my issue with that was I didn't like how it broke up the nice border that you have on the edge. So I really wanted to maintain just the like the main color as the border all the way around. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I like it both ways, honestly, and if I knit it again, I might try it with the contrasting stripe. But yeah, right now I just really like the look of this. And I did, so I striped my brioche sections, which is also different from the pattern. Yeah, I don't know, just something I really like that hot pink and the rust, and I wanted to use both. And I alternated the striping pattern on each section just because when I got to the middle section, I really, really love the hot pink and I wanted to add some more. So let me talk about that yarn. So the hot pink is also Madeline Tosh, and this is the Tosh Merino Light in the Voodoo colorway. So I love this yarn. I don't normally wear a whole lot of hot pink, but I definitely love pops of it, and I can't wait to add this to something else. As you can see, I have like a whole bunch left. So I don't know if this will be a hat, because yeah, maybe. Yeah, so this is just an awesome hot pink yarn. It's got speckles of all kinds of colors. You've got yellow, green, blue, black. Yeah, oh, it's just awesome. It's beautiful. Yeah, so there's that. And then I already talked about the rust colored yarn, which is the, again, Swan's Island. I don't think I said the fiber content. So this is 85% merino wool and 15% alpaca. So super soft. Yeah, so what else do I have to say about the shawl? Oh, so as soon as I finished, my first thought was to add pom-poms or tassels on the 3 points, mainly because I just wanted to squeeze in some more hot pink in whichever way I could. But as I started kind of styling it on myself, so I'm thinking I'll probably wear this kind of like bandana style. I'll try to take some pictures of it on, but I just feel like doing that, I'm gonna end up so in the winter, this is definitely going to be kind of squished under a coat. And I think with the pom-poms and the tassels, you get that extra bulk and you get these weird lumps in places that you don't really want lumps. So as cute as they would be, I think I'm going to not add tassels or pom-poms right now, unless I can find some way to maybe make them like detachable. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, I like it as is. It's just a perfect medium-sized triangular shawl, and it's reversible. Oh, I forgot about that part. So yeah, this side is technically the wrong side, but you get to see a little more of the contrasting colors, which is nice. So I love both sides. It really, I guess, just depends on what mood I'm in. Yeah, super cozy, squishy, and can only have good things to say about this. And I have my cousin Katie to thank for recommending the pattern, because she knit it first and I was totally inspired by hers. Yeah, so anyway, that's it for finished objects today, but it's a pretty big one. I'm glad to have this off my needles, and I'm so excited to start something else. Yeah, so next we have sewing. And while I do have technically a lot of sewing to share with you because of the crazy sewing spree that I went on before the cruise, a lot of them are just, I made this Ogden cami, I think 6 times, and then I made a couple dresses and some skirts, and I'll probably just spread them out through the next episodes until the end of summer, because I'm cutting myself off from summer sewing. If next time I sew, it's only going to be winter stuff, and I'm going to be really thoughtful about my winter projects. I might try to do a coat or something bigger, something that I can really take my time on, and you know, have a nice like staple piece in my wardrobe. Yeah, because I don't know about you guys, for the other seamstresses out there, but I get kind of a mental block when it comes to winter sewing. I guess because normally I'm sewing like 50s style dresses, and I don't really know how to translate that into winter outside of coats. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna do some research, probably scroll through Instagram, search some like winter fashion hashtags, maybe find some good inspiration for winter sewing. But if you have any thoughts or ideas or like go-to patterns for winter, please let me know because I need some help. So yeah, I guess my point is I do have sewing, but I'm gonna spread it out. So right now I'm wearing one of the Ogden camis that I made for the cruise, and the more I wear these, the more I really, really love them. It's just honestly a basic spaghetti strap top, and it's nothing fancy, but it's a super easy pattern to make, and I really like that. I think my favorite thing about it is that it looks really finished. Like the way the pattern is written, it has like a half lining, so the inside is nice and finished. It doesn't look so homemade, and for me, I don't always go out of my way to finish things the way that they should be. So when a pattern will make it easy for me, I just love that. So yeah, I have this knotted under my overalls, and that just shows how versatile it is. I've worn this so many different ways. Like tucked into jeans. I've worn it knotted with high-waisted skirts under these overalls. I mean, I feel like the possibilities are endless. And yeah, so that's it for sewing today, and I guess that's really it for everything. So yeah, until next time, hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.